From criminal justice reform and healthcare to the protection of water springs in the state of Florida, we're here in the state capitol speaking with House Representative Dennis Baxley of District 23 about these issues. I'm Candace Kelly, and welcome to this edition of Comcast Newsmakers. Thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Candace.
Now let's first talk about water and land resources. Tell me a little bit about what you have on the table now, how that's going, and what you're requesting.
Well, this has clearly been a work in progress that we want to keep springs protection. We have hundreds of springs in north central Florida, which is the source of much fresh water. And it's also one of our treasures, our great treasures that people come and visit our springs from all over the world. It's a very unique characteristic. And in all the environmental issues across Florida, you know, we have things down in the Everglades, Indian River Lagoon. There's many places that these resources for protecting our water and clean up and preserving these great resources can be dissipated. And so we're very pleased that we've been able to, with the help of other legislators, to keep the springs protection as a major piece of the pie in terms of managing our future resources. And what we're proposing, and we'll have legislation coming together to do, is a number of projects. We have many municipalities that are leaking on the front end and the back end. They have infrastructure issues. We have a lot of people that need to come on to central systems. And so we need pathways for each water basin. And so we've been working on a major package with the Senate so that we can finally get out a common water bill that will address many of these issues that have been waiting to be cultured.
And how much money are we talking about is needed in order to deal with these waterways?
Well, we need at least $50 million in the springs protection arena. And we hope that some of the other projects, and many of them related to DOT, Department of Transportation, runoff issues that we look at in each collection basin. And so I think as we address these, we're truly improving the quality and the future of land use and water in Florida. Also, reuse plans. We want to do some budgeting through DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, in order to see that resources get spent on redirecting instead of spray fields, have that go to major resources like utilities that use a lot of water, and that reuse plan of reusing water that's coming out of our sewer systems after it's been treated and tertiary treatments. All of these things build a better future. You know, if you think about the future all the time like I do, I have 5 kids and 8 grandkids, so I'm always thinking about the future and what kind of Florida are we giving them.
Right.
Clearly the management and care of these treasures and these water resources are going to be the future.
Right, it's going to impact them definitely.
And it affects the economy. Sometimes we need to take a victory lap. We've actually reduced average consumption almost in half by just improvement in the type of utilities and the water use methodologies that we have. So best practices in farming, best practices in how we build houses and water usage of buildings, these things all add up, but then we still have to go back and protect the source, the springs, and how nutrients get into those springs.
I want to make sure that we get in the Stand Your Ground bill, which actually recently died in the House, but you still have hopes for it in terms of being able to use deadly force if you believe that someone is unrightfully in your home. Tell me a little bit about your hopes for this and why you think it will survive.
Well, I'm the original sponsor of our self-defense bill in 2005, and at that time it really wasn't controversial. It was unanimous in the Senate, and only about 20 House members out of 120 voted against the proposal that we had. And the whole plan has always been to try to reduce the number of violent episodes, and that we would stand beside the law-abiding citizen who's protecting themselves from a violent act or their family or others, and that we would stand by them. And the history of it is we've seen a tremendous decline in violent crime in Florida over this 10-year period. Recently we had a court ruling that moved the burden of proof in a pretrial hearing to the defendant and basically said it's their responsibility to prove their innocence. I would love to fix that. I feel that the state always should have the burden of proof, even in that pretrial hearing. And I'm afraid that many people who were acting on self-defense will actually be sitting in jail waiting for their day. And many of those people are not going to have, this is why the public defenders are with us on this, because a lot of people will be waiting and not be able to mount that kind of defense in the pretrial hearing. That bill is very much alive still in the Senate. It was a tie vote in the Criminal Justice Committee in the Florida House, and so until sine die, the last day of session, we can always exchange bills with the Senate, and that could go on. So we're watching that progress, and as I said yesterday, we'll be back because some of these issues we need to continue to work on. And the whole idea is to keep Floridians safe.
All right, a lot more to come on that. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to Representative Baxley for speaking with us on this edition of Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Candace Kelly, and thank you for joining us.